So wisdom from the park here in Tokyo. Today I'd like to go over like 3 different subjects, 2 Pokemon related and 1 One Piece related. So in no particular order, let's start off with the first one. And that is, how is the current situation with PSA looking in regards to PSA 9 grading and the offer to buy back PSA 9s, and then for those to potentially fall into a gray area where they may be getting regraded after the fact. Allegedly, this sounds quite a gray area in its best situation, and in its worst situation it seems an overreach of power, possibly. There does seem to be a number of events which are looking at or have announced that they are cancelling PSA events for the current time at conferences and so on and so forth. But this is just from news that I've seen, and these are just my personal beliefs. And like I said, allegedly, but yeah, it does seem that where else are you gonna go, right? Where else are you gonna go? But at the same time, the market does regulate itself, and if the market regulates itself, I think people have finally put their foot down and gone, yo, this isn't, and I'm British, so this isn't cricket. So you gotta kind of like look at that and reconsider that, because everybody can lift that curtain and have a look behind that curtain, and it doesn't look pretty behind there. So maybe that is not such a good thing to be doing, and you might want to reconsider that. And there seems to be a little bit of rethinking on this matter, possibly. But like I said, yeah, from posts that have been made and from things which I've seen online, it does seem that there have been people who have found that their cards which they sold back to PSA for PSA 9s have been then regraded and received a PSA 10. So maybe that's my misunderstanding, but that does seem to be the situation. And if that is complete overreach, in my opinion. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts on that are, and if it will make any difference. I personally don't think it will make much difference. All I do think it will do is put a little bit of a handbrake, not a brake, the main brake on the car, but the handbrake on the car, because it will be like, whoa, the community is not happy here, rethink this, don't push this, don't do that. Is my personal opinion. I think that is the best result we're going to see from this, because money talks first in the hobby, and obviously PSA products, and I do like PSA products, I'll be honest with you. I don't like the new slabs that they have, which are quite easy to be like manipulated, but yeah, I do like their products, but yeah, I do feel that this is a little bit of a sad era that we're in recently, and I think maybe it's maybe a path that they might want to do a U-turn on, or at least reverse the car backwards and then just consider how to move forward from here. But like I said, let me know what you think, and like I said, just from stories I've seen online and so on and so forth, and my personal opinion. So secondly, I'd like to talk about upcoming sets. Now, I've been talking about that there would be a uptick in Japanese Pokemon products from sort of like middle of December moving forward into the 30th anniversary. And before that, there'll be a slight lull, and the money would go somewhere, kind of thing. So it's pretty much played out as I thought. I mean, we had a lull, and this year the end of year Japanese high quality set was released on the 28th of November. It's very unusual. Normally it's the first week of December. So it was a little bit early, so it kind of like shook the data up a little bit compared to a normal year. So I thought the down period would have been a little bit longer, but we are starting to see prices sort of like doing quite okay on Japanese like Pokemon promos and so on and so forth, and the vintage cards as well are doing pretty well. Ultra Modern is like struggling a little bit in some areas, so there is a little bit fatigue there, and where I thought that the 30th anniversary product would come out on around about the 26th of February, it looks like they're going to do the same as 2020, was it 2021? Yeah, 2021, where basically they had their release sort of like around June to, I think it was end of August. So with the pattern filing for names, there hasn't, or doesn't seem to have been sort of like moved forward much. There has been a name that's come out, which is I think it was something along Celebration something, and that means we're probably looking at the same period of time, which is like June to September, for a release of the Celebrations 2.0 set. So that means that stretches my timeline out quite a lot, because I thought we'd be looking at sort of like February to March and then see a downturn at the end of March. But if we get some big sets drop sort of like January, March, and then leading into the Celebrations 2.0 set in June to sort of like September, then most of next year could be FOMO for Japanese products. So yeah, that's kind of recalibrated my thoughts on that a little bit. So let me know what you think about that as well. And my third point is for One Piece. Now One Piece, we have had a downturn in Pokemon products in English and in Japanese. Not so much in Japanese, but there has been a little bit. And we saw exactly the same trend in 2021-2, where there was a down period of time where product was available and everybody kind of like walked away from Pokemon new products for like about 2 or 3 months, and the money had to go somewhere, and it went into One Piece. And if you went to Akihabara, I did a video on this before on the channel, that there was about 30 or 40% of shop space taken over suddenly by One Piece cards, and it was really hard to find like Pokemon cards. And it was like I said, is this the death of Pokemon cards in Akihabara at that time? And it lasted for about 3-4 months, and then the shops realized it was too volatile. It was up, it was down, it was up, it was down, it was left, it was right. It didn't have the core buyer seller value that Pokemon has over One Piece, and has had over One Piece over the last 30 years. Therefore, the reverse happened within about a 6 months period. 3 to 4 months, it was, you know, the ruling the waves, and in 2 months kind of reverse. So within 6 months, it was back to the same ratio again. Sort of like, if you were lucky, 10% display of One Piece cards, and or PSA slabs or that kind of thing, and then everything back onto Pokemon again. So I'm seeing the same trend again this time. I haven't seen the shops flip their space yet, but I have seen the prices of One Piece go up. And the shops which are offering One Piece slabs or One Piece items have begun to put their prices up in this down period. And we're still in that kind of sort of like transitional period with Pokemon at the moment, where there was a down period, it's coming back, but it's still sort of like a kind of a lukewarm to semi-warm situation. So the heat is still on One Piece, and I do see opportunities still available for recent Japanese promo cards for One Piece for quick flips over the next 1 to 3 months. You might want to consider looking back at some of the Jump magazine promos, because I do think that will be something to make a quick buck on. No financial advice, but I do believe there are, for example, you can pick up something like the Moss Burger One Piece promo card for somewhere around about 1,500 to 2,000 yen. PSA 10 is about 22,000 yen. It was about 500 yen about a month and a half ago. But I still think that's got some legs on it, as an example. And then some of the other Jump magazine promos which came out, which were knocking around for 500 yen, 600 yen, 700 yen, are up to about 6,000 yen right now. That might be a little bit more risk taking if the tides turn in 2 to 3 months on that current, like I mentioned before, on this current situation for One Piece, but still potential flips in that short window of time, the next 2, long term I would say 4 months, but 2 to 3 months, there is definitely some flip potential on some Japanese One Piece promo cards. And like I said, no financial advice. Everything in this video is my own opinion and just from stuff that I have seen online. So like I said, let me know your opinions, and that's my rant from the park in Tokyo.